In the year 2145, Earth was on the brink of environmental collapse. The skies were perpetually gray, the oceans were rising, and resources were dwindling. Humanity's last hope lay in the ambitious project spearheaded by the United Earth Council, the colonization of a new world. The recently discovered planet, Nova Terra, promised a fresh start. A select group of pioneers was chosen for the mission, each an expert in their field, each ready to leave everything behind for the chance to build a new home for humanity. Captain Sarah Mitchell stood at the massive viewing window, staring out at the colossal spaceship, the Odyssey, that would carry them to their new world. She took a deep breath, trying to steady her nerves. Behind her, the launch site buzzed with activity as technicians made final preparations. "Hey, you okay?" a voice asked, breaking her reverie. Sarah turned to see Dr. Ethan Shaw, the mission's lead scientist. Tall and lanky, with a mop of unruly hair, Ethan looked as nervous as she felt. "Just taking it all in," Sarah replied with a small smile. "Hard to believe we're really doing this." Ethan nodded, adjusting his glasses. "Years of planning, and now it's finally happening." Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of Alex Reyes, the young engineer who had joined the mission last minute. He carried an aura of mystery, his past a tightly held secret. "Captain, Dr. Shaw," Alex greeted them with a nod. "All systems are go. We're ready when you are." Sarah gave him a grateful nod. "Let's do this." As the crew gathered for a final briefing, there was a palpable sense of excitement and trepidation. Families and friends of the crew members had gathered to say their farewells, and the air was thick with emotion. Sarah's daughter, Lily, clung to her leg, tears streaming down her face. "Do you have to go, Mommy?" Sarah knelt down, wiping away Lily's tears. "I do, sweetheart, but remember I'm doing this for you, so you can have a better future." Ethan's parents were there too, their pride and worry evident. His mother hugged him tightly. "Take care of yourself, Ethan. We're so proud of you." Alex, however, had no one to see him off. He stood alone, watching the others with a distant look in his eyes. With the farewells said, the crew boarded the Odyssey. The ship was a marvel of modern engineering, equipped with everything they would need for the long journey and the initial stages of colonization. As the engines roared to life, Sarah took her place in the captain's chair. "Crew, prepare for departure." Ethan monitored the ship's systems from his station, his fingers flying over the controls. "All systems nominal. We're ready for takeoff." Alex secured the last of the cargo and joined them on the bridge. "Everything's set, Captain?" Sarah took a deep breath and nodded. "Initiate launch sequence." The countdown began, each second bringing them closer to their new beginning. As the ship lifted off, leaving Earth behind, the crew watched in awe as the blue planet grew smaller and smaller. Their journey to Nova Terra had begun. The Odyssey cruised through the vast expanse of space, leaving Earth far behind. As the days turned into weeks, the crew settled into a routine, each member performing their duties with a mix of excitement and apprehension. The ship's interior was filled with the hum of machinery and the quiet chatter of the crew. One day, the ship's alarms blared, jolting everyone into action. Sarah rushed to the bridge where Ethan was already analyzing the data. "What's going on?" she asked, her voice steady despite the rising tension. "We're approaching an asteroid field," Ethan replied, his fingers flying over the controls. "It's denser than we anticipated. We need to navigate through it carefully." Sarah nodded, taking her seat. "Alex, bring up the navigational data. We need a clear path through." Alex quickly accessed the ship's systems, projecting a 3D map of the asteroid field onto the main screen. "Got it. There's a narrow passage we can take, but it'll require precise maneuvering." Sarah's eyes narrowed with determination. "Let's do it. Everyone, hold on." As Alex guided the ship through the treacherous field, The crew watched in tense silence. The Odyssey weaved and dodged between massive rocks, each one a potential disaster. Finally, after what felt like hours, they emerged on the other side, the asteroid field behind them. "Nice work, everyone," Sarah said, releasing a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. "Let's keep moving." A few days after their encounter with the asteroid field, the Odyssey encountered another challenge. The ship's power systems began to falter, causing lights to flicker and vital systems to intermittently shut down. "Ethan, what's going on?" Sarah demanded as she entered the engine room, where Ethan was already hard at work diagnosing the issue. "We're experiencing some kind of power drain," Ethan explained, frustration evident in his voice. "I can't pinpoint the source yet, but it's affecting all our main systems." Alex joined them, his expression grim. "I've checked the entire ship. No signs of damage, but something's definitely wrong." Sarah frowned, considering their options. "We need to figure this out fast. Without full power, we're sitting ducks." Hours passed as the crew worked tirelessly to identify the problem. Finally, Ethan's eyes lit up as he made a breakthrough. "Got it! There's a faulty power relay in the secondary generator. It's causing a feedback loop that's draining our systems." Alex nodded, already grabbing his tools. "I'll fix it. Shouldn't take long." With the relay repaired, the ship's systems gradually returned to normal. The crew breathed a collective sigh of relief as the lights stabilized and the hum of machinery resumed its steady rhythm. During the quieter moments of their journey, the crew began to form bonds. Despite the challenges they faced, they found comfort in each other's company. One evening, Sarah found herself in the common area, sharing a meal with Ethan and Alex. They laughed and talked, the tension of their recent trials easing with each shared story and joke. "You know," Ethan said, his usually serious face breaking into a rare smile, "I never thought I'd enjoy this part of the mission so much. It's good to have people to talk to." Alex nodded in agreement. "Yeah, it's nice not to be alone out here." Sarah looked at her crew, feeling a swell of pride and gratitude. "We've got a long journey ahead of us, but I know we'll make it through together." As the Odyssey continued its voyage through the stars, the crew grew closer, their bonds strengthening with each passing day. They knew there were more challenges ahead, but they faced them with renewed confidence and a sense of unity. After months of travel, the Odyssey finally approached its destination. The crew gathered at the viewing window, gazing in awe at the planet below. Nova Terra was a stunning sight, with vast oceans, lush forests, and towering mountain ranges. Sarah's voice crackled over the intercom, filled with a mix of excitement and relief. "We've made it, everyone. Welcome to Nova Terra." The ship descended through the planet's atmosphere, shaking slightly as it pierced the clouds. When they broke through, the crew saw their new home up close for the first time. The landing site was a wide, grassy plain bordered by a dense forest. It was perfect. "Ethan, run a scan of the area," Sarah ordered. "We need to make sure it's safe to land." Ethan quickly checked the readings. "All clear, Captain. No signs of hostile life forms or hazardous conditions." With the all clear given, Sarah guided the Odyssey to a smooth landing. The crew cheered as the ship touched down, the realization of their achievement sinking in. The first few days on Nova Terra were a whirlwind of activity. The crew worked tirelessly to unload supplies, set up temporary shelters, and establish a perimeter around the landing site. They knew that their survival depended on their ability to adapt quickly to their new environment. Alex oversaw the construction of the colony's infrastructure, his engineering expertise proving invaluable. "We need to prioritize the essentials first," he explained to the team. "Shelter, food, water, and communication." Sarah coordinated with the crew, ensuring that everyone knew their roles. "Ethan, focus on analyzing the local flora and fauna. We need to know what's safe to eat and what we should avoid." Ethan nodded, already engrossed in studying the samples he had collected. There's an incredible biodiversity here. I've never seen anything like it. Despite the hard work, the crew's spirits were high. They were building something new, something that would last for generations. As the crew ventured further from the landing site, they encountered the planet's unique wildlife. Most of the creatures were harmless, but some were more dangerous than they appeared. One afternoon, Sarah and a small team were exploring a nearby forest when they heard a rustling in the bushes. They froze, hands on their weapons, as a large reptilian creature emerged. It had bright iridescent scales and sharp claws, but it seemed more curious than aggressive. "Hold your fire," Sarah instructed, holding out her hand. "Let's see what it does." The creature sniffed the air, then slowly backed away, disappearing into the underbrush. The team breathed a sigh of relief. "That was close," Alex said, lowering his weapon. "We need to be careful. We don't know what else is out there." Sarah nodded. "Agreed. Let's head back to camp and update the others." In the evenings, the crew gathered around a campfire, sharing stories and reflecting on their experiences. The challenges they faced only brought them closer together, forging bonds that would sustain them through the trials ahead. One night, as the fire crackled and the stars shone overhead, Sarah looked around at her team. "We've come a long way, but this is just the beginning. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but I know we can do it." Ethan smiled, raising his cup. "To new beginnings and new adventures." The crew echoed the toast, their voices filled with hope and determination. They knew that Nova Terra was their new home, and they were ready to build a future together. The crew of the Odyssey had settled into their new routine on Nova Terra, but their excitement was tempered by the knowledge that they were far from alone. As they explored deeper into their new world, they made a startling discovery, evidence of an ancient civilization. One morning, while on a scouting mission, Ethan stumbled upon a series of stone structures partially buried in the dense foliage. He radioed back to the camp, his voice tinged with excitement. "Sarah, you need to see this. I think I've found something big." Sarah, Alex, and a few others hurried to Ethan's location. When they arrived, they were greeted by the sight of what appeared to be the remains of a city, with crumbling buildings and strange alien symbols etched into the stone. "This is incredible," Sarah whispered, running her hand over one of the carvings. "It looks like there was an advanced civilization here long before us." Ethan nodded, his eyes wide with amazement. "We need to document everything. This could change everything we know about this planet." Back at camp, the crew gathered to discuss their findings. The discovery of the ruins sparked a heated debate about how to proceed. "We need to explore the ruins further," Ethan argued. "There's so much we can learn from them." Alex shook his head. "But we also need to be cautious. We don't know what happened to the civilization that built those structures. It could be dangerous." Sarah listened to both sides, weighing their arguments. "We can't ignore this discovery, but we also can't take unnecessary risks. We'll explore the ruins, but we'll do it carefully and with all necessary precautions." As they began to investigate the ruins, strange occurrences started happening around the camp. Equipment malfunctioned without explanation, eerie sounds echoed through the night, and several crew members reported seeing shadowy figures moving in the distance. One night, Sarah was awakened by a loud crash. She rushed outside to find a piece of equipment overturned and Alex standing nearby, looking shaken. "I saw something," he said, his voice trembling. "Something moved past me, but when I turned, there was nothing there." Sarah frowned, her concern growing. "We need to stay vigilant. Whatever's out there, we need to be prepared." Their worst fears were confirmed when, during an expedition into the heart of the ruins, they encountered their first alien being. The creature was unlike anything they had ever seen, with elongated limbs, luminescent eyes, and an otherworldly presence. The crew froze, unsure of how to react. The alien regarded them silently, its gaze piercing and inscrutable. After a tense moment, it turned and vanished into the shadows. "We need to get back to camp," Sarah said, her voice steady but urgent. "We have to figure out what we're dealing with." As they retreated, the weight of their discovery pressed heavily on them. They were not alone on Nova Terra, and their new home was filled with mysteries and potential dangers they had yet to understand. Back at camp, the crew gathered to process their encounter. They knew that their journey had only just begun, and the challenges they faced would test their courage, ingenuity, and unity. "We'll face whatever comes our way," Sarah said, her determination unwavering. "Together, we'll make Nova Terra our home." Subscribe to watch more amazing sci-fi